Hello again, baseball fans, and welcome back to another episode of the MLB Draft Weekend Review. I'm your host, Kris Dunn, joined as always with my co-host, Joe Doyle. Today, we are going to have a special guest on the show, so a really great show lined up for you guys today. We will have Rays prospect Cole Wilcox joining us on the show. You might ask why we have Cole on the show today. Well, there's been some really exciting news swirling around Prospects Live over the last couple of weeks. And last week, that news became public to many of you. So we're going to talk about that a little bit with him on the show. But Joe, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, man. It's good to be back. It's always good to be back. How you doing, Kris?
It's always good to be here. This is the time of year where college baseball is a little bit slow, right? We're kind of just at the point where we just want Omaha to be here and we just want the draft to be here. And worst case, I guess, is we want the conference tournaments to be here because we're still not even there yet. We're just kind of waiting. So we're at that we're at that.
We need to juice it up a little bit. I mean,
yeah,
I'm excited to see how many dingers Ivan Melendez ends up with. I mean, he might get to 40, but other than that, it's just kind of, chalk at this point. Let's get this thing going.
Remember when Tommy White was on pace to hit like 125 dingers this year?
Mm-hmm. And then he wasn't.
And then he just wasn't. So we'll get into some of the college prospects out there. But without any further ado, guys, I really want to go ahead and bring on the special guest of the hour, Cole Wilcox. Cole, welcome to the show, buddy.
What's going on?
What is going on? So
what's up, my man? He goes by Thunder, by the way.
Yeah, what is it?
Cole, Thunder Wilcox.
Some people refer to me as Thunder, so I'm open to it. I started college.
When did this start? Yeah, when did this Thunder start?
Starting college. One of my good buddies, Adam Goodman, started calling me, and then I remember it really stuck when Strickland called me Thunder in practice one day. That's when I knew it was probably gonna stick around for a while.
And what is the origin?
Yeah, is it the persona or the stuff?
I think. Let's see. I think it was we were just goofing around the locker room one day, and he called me Big Thunderous Mountain, just like I don't know where it stemmed from, and then it just kind of got shortened to Thunder naturally, and so yeah, that's where it's been since.
All
right.
So we've recently brought on. Well, let's talk about the college ranks, right? I mean, we're getting close to the draft. Obviously, you're a big Georgia guy. I mean, through and through. Jonathan Cannon's a pretty. There we go. Is it Georgia all sports? I assume. Like, is there any sport where you have a different favorite team than Georgia?
Well, what's crazy is I really wasn't a Braves fan growing up. I don't know what it was. Like the story, I think how it went was the first. In rec ball, you get assigned like a professional team when you're younger, playing in the rec, and I was always the Yankees for some reason. So like from when I was 5 years old on, I was always watching the Yankees because I knew like, hey, I play for them. So I just followed them. So I was never like a big Braves fan, but everything else, yeah, die hard.
All right. Well, the Bulldogs have a very good arm down there right now in Jonathan Cannon. Obviously, a name that we're going to hear called early in the draft this upcoming year. What are your thoughts on Cannon?
I mean, Cannon is as good as he is on the mound. Like he's just as good off the mound. Like he's a great guy. Just the type of guy you want at the front of the rotation. Very confident. He's been like that since he got to campus because we played the COVID year. We were there together. He carries himself really, really well. You knew he was going to be good from the moment he stepped on, and like anybody, he's had some growing pains and had to work on some things, and a lot like I did when I was at school, and we kind of had the same growing pains really. And so he's fixed a lot of things this year. He's added the cutter, which we interviewed my pitching coach Sean Kinney on Diamonds in the Rough, and he was saying how he taught himself at the cutter. He said that the cutter was his own idea, and he was trying to stop him, really not really trying to stop him, but he wasn't encouraging it. And he said that now looking back, like that's what's made him this good this year is having a cutter. You can throw 86 to 88, and it's a quick out. Like when he throws it, it's like throws it to the lefty, and it's just a sawed off bat to second base.
Do you Do you and Cannon, do you guys kind of have the similar arsenal when you were there? I mean, you guys both kind of got that running fastball,
Yeah.
changeup, breaking ball.
And I think that's because when I was in college, I threw a four seam always, but it was a runner, more of a runner than a sinker, which I changed now. But then it was like I got to campus, I was throwing 100, and it was like getting barreled up, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't throw any harder. So that's when Coach Kenny really started getting into analytics a little bit. We started reading the Rapsodo, reading the TrackMan, and it was like, okay, like this is your fastball, this is how it plays. And that completely changed my career. Like I was able to live low in the zone, working it out, and it was a big deal. And so he had some of the same things because he was throwing a four seam that had the same movement as mine. And last year I noticed a lot, like, yeah, he's throwing hard, he's throwing 95, 96, but if you're gonna miss with, especially throwing a four seam, you can't miss up. It gets hit. It's crazy. Like it gets barreled. But this year he switched to a two seam, and that with the sink on it, like it just gives you so much more leeway. Like now when I miss, like I still get ground balls and I still get out. It's like used to, it felt like any time I missed with a four seam that I was throwing, it got barreled. So him switching to two seam was also a big deal because he's able to because he was kind of figuring out what he wanted to do last year, whether he wanted to ride it or sink it. So he's committed to two seam cutter, and a lot of people make a lot of money with that combination.
Sure. So I got another question off that. Why didn't you just try to throw harder?
Yeah, that's the logical thing to do. Bump it up.
Why change the shape when you can just throw harder?
Yeah, that's the I'm not gonna ran it up to Ben Joyce levels. It don't matter what the ball is. 105 can be top spinning, and it's gonna freaking blow by anyone.
Can you imagine a 105-mile-an-hour curveball?
What is the fastest you've ever hit?
I've heard some 101s when I was pitching at Mississippi State, but I would be like 97 and 99 out of the pen that freshman year, which I've never thrown out of the pen, so I credit a lot of that. Like it's just different. Like your body is just different when you're coming out of the pen. You have the quick adrenaline. You're in a close game. Guys are on base. I don't know what it was, but it was fun. I'll say that. I'd love to get that back because that was an exhilarating feeling.
So right now, obviously, it's a little bit difficult rehabbing from Tommy John for you. What is what is it like not being able to throw right now? And what is it like to have to go through that rehab process for such a long period of time?
Yeah, it's crazy. And at the very beginning of the rehab process, like it's pretty deflating. Especially like I felt like I was having a pretty good year, and every start felt like I was getting a lot better, and stuff was like kind of getting into the mold of what I want it to be. And so to have it then and to have it at a time where you're feeling really good was tough. But like I've told everybody, and Colby White is down here now, and he had TJ, and he had a lot of questions about it, and was worried about how long it was going to be, and was talking about next year. Am I going to be on the mound till September? Like stuff like that. And what's crazy about it is it goes by so fast because you just show up the next day and you do what you got to do. It's like, all right, today I'm throwing 90 feet. You throw 90 feet and then you get ready for the next time you throw. So it's kind of like how the season goes by fast because you're prepping for the next start, like all the time. You start and then you start prepping for the next start. It's kind of like that with the TJ program. It's just, 1 week at a time. I'm throwing 4 days this week. And once you throw, you do all your arm care and you get ready for the next time you throw. And before you know it, you're a month out from bullpens and you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
And so where are you throwing from right now?
This week is my first week of 5 days a week. So I'll have 2 weeks at 5 days a week. I'll get a week off of throwing, and then I'll come back and throw bullpen the next week.
And you're like 90 feet right now?
No, I've been out to 135, which is the max on our throwing program here.
Okay.
So we were throwing 3 days a week. I got out to 135, and then we went to 4 days a week. And so it kind of fluctuates day to day now. But 135 is our max. So I've passed – I'm at the max distance, and now it's just getting the volume in there.
So let's talk about the injury itself because it's different for everyone. I mean, for some people it's soreness, for some people it's a pop, for some people it's preventative. Mm-hmm. Do you want to kind of go into detail about how it happened for you? And
let's do it.
I guess your reaction.
So I had kind of a mechanic deal. Like it happened it was crazy. Like I remember it vividly. It happened from my first to second start. And I wish I could pull up the video and show you, but my first start, like, and even in spring training, everything felt so good. Like, it was smooth. It was coming out really good. The stuff was awesome. And it just felt like I could throw the ball wherever I wanted. And then it's just one of those baseball things. Something happened where it was like the ball was getting stuck in my glove almost. Like, I'd lift my leg and my hands wouldn't separate, and it was just the ball was stuck. So I don't know this for sure, but like, I think that created a timing issue that could have led to it. And it's like, it happens to everybody. So it's tough to like go back and pick one thing. But from there on out, like I really wasn't recovering fast. And I was a guy who I bounced back quick always. Like, that was always my thing. I felt like I would throw the soreness out and I would be good to go. But I wasn't recovering very fast, and it's just not what I was used to. So I kind of felt weird there, but I kind of contributed to just my first professional season, more innings than I'm used to, the volume a little up. But I was still throwing well, so I didn't really think much about it. And then there was one game, like it was probably the best my stuff had been for a while. And I was throwing really well. I got through the first inning. I think I punched out the first 3 guys, and then went into the second inning and got a couple outs. And then right before the inning was over, I was facing actually my college teammate, Cam Shepard. And it was one pitch, and it was just like, it was like my forearm started burning. There was no pop, but it was my flexor was just on fire. So I thought, when you're throwing, sometimes you get things pop up and you just kind of shake it off and it's fine. But this one wasn't going away. And it was like every pitch, it was just like I could feel it just tear more. And so finally, I finished that at bat and went to the next guy, and I was like, I'm going to throw one pitch here. And if it ain't feeling it, I got to go. And it did not feel good. So it was more of what happened was I tore my flexor, and then that exposed my UCL, obviously. But the doc said that, UCL's probably been banged up for a couple of years now. It was just kind of being protected by the flexor and the other muscles around it. And then when it went, it just.
So was pushing it after those first few pitches when it was burning? Did that do more damage to the UCL? Like, could it have been? It was done.
Yeah, no, it was done. And like I said, I don't know how much damage I did to the UCL on that particular start. Like, I think MLB had been down for probably since I was at the alternate site at the Padres. And so, like, I didn't think much about it, but looking back now, like, I think, that could have been an issue, maybe not. But I went to Dr. Elitrosh in LA, and he seems to think that it's probably been roughed up for a little bit. And every pitcher's UCL is roughed up. Like, that's just part of overhead throwing. But
it's pitching, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's terrible for your body. But I think that contributed to it a little bit. So I was happy. I wasn't happy to get the surgery, but I was happy to kind of have an answer to what I was been kind of questioning for a while.
Yeah. Kris, do you want to jump into draft day a little bit?
Yeah, let's go into it. So we're not that far away from the draft. What was it like for you getting ready for the draft and on draft day? Were you home with your family? Like, what was that experience like for you?
The one where I actually got picked?
I was going to say, Cole, you had a very you were a guy that was like, you were smattered all over first rounds and mock drafts, and everyone,
high school and college.
Yeah, I mean, first round, a lot of people just considered you're going to go in the first round, and just we'll see where. I know, like, behind closed doors, there were, you had a number, your representation had a number, and I think you fell to the third round. So what was that like, just waiting?
Yeah. So, yeah, like, I had a real different experience from high school to college. High school, I kind of knew, like, I really wanted to go to school. Like, that was where my heart was. So I set a really high number. I didn't really anticipate getting it. Once draft day came around, like, I was 18, and I was like, oh, this is kind of sick. Like, I hope my name gets called. But I didn't hear much from my agent that day. Like, it was just kind of slow, nothing. I didn't hear anything absolute. So I was like, this kind of sucks. So then rolling into college, I could tell, like, it was serious, because the days leading up, we had real conversations. Like, I talked to so-and-so today. Like, they seemed like they might, make a real push. Like, I was getting a lot of details. So I was really excited going into it. Knew that it was probably going to happen. And then names just started getting called, and I didn't really hear much. And then, I don't know if I've ever even told anybody this, but my phone rang, and I was told I was getting drafted by the Nationals. at pick number 22, which is where I got mocked a lot. And something happened, and they were like, stay on the phone while we work out the details. And it was one of those things where I think maybe half the room was split, Cade Cavalli or me. And they went with Cavalli, which the dude's dominating now, so you can't question that decision. Dude's a really very, very good pitcher. And so, but it was like, I was super upset. Like, I was a minute ago, I was drafted, and now I'm still waiting. Nothing happened the rest of the night. Phone didn't ring once. So I was texting some of my college teammates. I'm like, well, I guess we'll run it back next year. I was fully anticipating going back to school after that day.
Because you were young, right? You were just 20.
Yeah, I was a sophomore. So I had
Right.
another year of eligibility plus COVID. So, I mean, I had plenty of leverage left. And so the next day I start contemplating. I'm like, man, at some point, like, it's time to go. Like, it's time to get in the system and work your way up. You can't make the big leagues in college. So I called my agent. I was like, should we drop our number? Like, I'm ready to go. Like, I've slept on it now, and I'm kind of just wanting to go. And he said, well, I was just about to call you. There's a lot of teams with a lot of money left. He said there's a lot of guys were cutting deals yesterday. This draft's only 5 rounds. So they're trying to maximize their money. So it was a weird first round, but there's plenty of money left today, and the Padres want you, and named a couple other teams. So about an hour later, he called back, and he said, the Padres are going to take you with their 3rd round pick. So I'm sitting here like, why not the 2nd? And he said, well, they're using that 2nd pick to get to you. He said, the only problem that can happen here is if someone picks you and holds you hostage.
Yep.
So I spent all of day 2 from pick, 40 to 80, hoping my name didn't get called. It was a wild experience. I was like, somebody named Cole got drafted that day, and I was like as soon as he said Cole, my heart dropped. But
yeah, like Cole Winn or something.
Yeah, it was wild. Like, it's not that I ever expected, me sitting there hoping I didn't get called. But it was awesome when it finally did, and it was worth the wait.
So you got drafted according to your phone twice. You spent 40 picks hoping not to hear your name called. I don't think there's a lot of guys that lived your life.
No, it was like, I don't even know how to describe it, but like, I went to bed mad. I went to bed real mad. And then once I woke up, like, it was like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then once I heard that phone call, it was just like, okay, like, this is going to happen today, surely. Like, it can't keep going on. I don't know if I'd have survived the 3rd time through. So luckily I got paid.
So then I gotta wonder, knowing that the conversation was there at pick 22 between the Nationals and you and Cavalli, are you going to spend the rest of your career almost comparing yourself to Cavalli as almost like a footnote?
No, I played with Cade on Team USA. Like, he's a great dude, like, fantastic dude. And like, it's absolutely nothing against him. Like, he was just sitting there getting the same phone call as I was, It's like, we're all like, once you meet everybody, it's hard to look at him as like a draft pick, like a Nationals draft pick. Like, to me, he's just Cade. Like, he's one of my boys. So it's tough to compare yourself to people like that. Like, you always think you would, and you remember growing up watching sports, like, oh, these guys are drafted at the same time. Like, I'm a diehard Hawks fan, so Luka and Trey are always getting compared, and I get involved. Like, nah, Trey's way better. But that's just when you're a player, you don't do that because, I like Cade and I want to see him succeed. I was pumped when he was throwing 100 in the Futures game last year. Like, that's sick. So, no, I have I never think to compare myself to him.
So I think that other Cole that you were referring to, even the deeper irony behind that, I think that was Cole Henry, right? And he was also drafted to the Nationals.
Yeah, LSU.
There you go. Yeah.
All
right.
They wanted Cole.
So you're drafted in June, and then you're flipped 5 or 6 months later. So after all that, you get traded over to Tampa. I mean, what's that experience like for a really young player that is just finding his footing in the league?
Yeah, it was crazy. But I think me being out of college and really understanding, like, because I'm a sports fan, like, I love the numbers behind it. Like, I think being a GM would be awesome. Like, I completely understand, like, how sports are ran. So it was no shock to me because I knew the Padres were in a spot where they needed to go for it. Like, they got a great team over there. And so when Blake Snell became available, like, you've got to try, like he's a Cy Young guy. So
that is a very interesting point of view. I mean, you got to be in the 1% of players that look at it from a macro view and say, I'm Cole Wilcox and I'm getting traded, but they got Blake Snell.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't fault him for that. And what was really cool, because I got to go to the alternate site with the Padres, and so I met all the big league guys. I met all the high ups. AJ Preller was at all of our practices. So, like, I really got to know these guys on a personal level, where it's tough to hold a grudge. Like, they didn't do it because they didn't like me. Like, I know that for a fact, unless they're like the best liars ever, which I know they're not. Like, they're great people. So, like, the pitching coordinators, the assistant GM, the GM, like, everybody was awesome over there, and they helped me so much. Like, I can't tell you how much better I got at pitching at the alternate site. It was facing big league guys, facing AA guys. Just like, you had to really work to get outs there, and I can't thank them enough for allowing me to go there and learn a lot of stuff and carry that with me. So I have absolutely no hard feelings there, and I think it's beneficial in multiple ways for everybody. So that's what people kept asking me. Like, asked me if I was upset with the Padres. They gave me up. They kept saying they gave you away, and I was like, okay, you really want the new iPhone? How are you going to get it? Like, well, we're going to pay for it. Like, yeah, everything in the world involves a trade. If you want something, you've got to trade something back.
So
you don't get it for free.
Let me ask the other side of that, though, because I think at least one thing that I've always kind of wondered and struggled with is professional sports is one of the only arenas, one of the only industries where you are uprooted against your will, essentially. You're under contract, but you are moved against your will to somewhere else in the country. You establish residence somewhere else in the country. Yeah. And, you go from Arizona to Florida for your rehab, for everything, for spring training. So what's it like to be told, hey, you're going to have to get a new apartment somewhere else?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, because I'm thinking back to like all the teams I've ever been on. So I'm thinking about in college, and you're so close to those guys, like you're competing with those guys every day. I couldn't imagine like being in Blake Snell's shoes, where he's traded from the team he just went to the World Series with. Like, that would be way harder for me than what the situation I was in, to where I hadn't even played any games with the Padres, not even minor league games. So like, I love those guys I was with. I mean, Ryan Weathers, Owen Miller, those guys are like my boys. They'll be at my wedding. But at the same time, they weren't really my teammates, Like, I haven't really competed with them. So it would be much, much harder, in my opinion, if you were on the big league team trying to win games with these guys and you got traded then. Like, that would hurt. But yeah. I was there 6 months. It was a great learning experience. Like, it wasn't – I was going closer to home, so it really wasn't – that side of it didn't impact me that much.
Sure.
What's the biggest difference for you between Arizona and Florida, other than the two different types of heat?
Yeah, they're both hot. They're both extremely hot. Arizona, the complexes are closer to each other. It kind of feels like it's like a spring training town. In Florida, you're all the way across the state.
Right.
That would be the biggest. I don't think in terms of facilities, I don't see much of a difference. The Dodgers are have the best facility I've ever seen. Like, it's ridiculously nice. So that's by far the nicest. But overall, I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot of difference.
So I've lived in the Tampa area. I lived in St. Pete for about 7 years. So I've lived in this area for about 11 years now. Had a chance to cover the team for a while. What is it that you're most, looking forward to, I guess, eventually one day making that, making your major league debut and with the Rays, what are you most looking forward to, or what do you expect that to be like?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the goal and what you're looking forward to. I'm telling you what I'm waiting on. I see all these guys that the Rays pick up or have come through the Rays, and they just show him this grip, and all of a sudden it's the best pitch in baseball. That's what I'm waiting on.
He hasn't called you yet? You haven't got the call?
That's gonna get me to the Hall of Fame. So that's what I'm waiting on. I saw the other day when Tommy Romero made his debut, and I've watched him pitch multiple times. Well, he put on his Instagram story this splitter that he learned, and it was disgusting. Like, he just whipped it out his second outing, and apparently he learned it that week. And he was punching tickets in the 9th inning in the big leagues. I was like, I need them I need one of these magic pitches that the Rays teach. So hopefully
yeah, I mean,
when I get healthy.
It's the only organization that could tell Matt Whistler to throw a pretty good slider. Like, it's not a crazy slider. It's a pretty good slider 93% of the time, and have a full-time job all the time.
Yeah.
Opener, closer.
There is something in the analytics that they really, really like about it, because they have a lot of very, very, very smart people working, especially in the pitching department, and they just know. Like, a lot of people argue with them, and then they'll end up doing it, and it works. Like, you don't want – like, we're competitors, and we feel like that, especially guys who they mess with, it's like big league free agents and guys who have pitched years in AAA, been up and down, and they don't want to change. Like, they've made the big leagues what they had, but then you do it, and it's like, well, they know what they're talking about a little bit.
So you're going to get the magic bullet. You'll get it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it'll be. Maybe they'll finally teach you to throw 103. That was your biggest mistake at Georgia.
If that is the magic ticket, I will take it gladly.
Let's talk a little bit about this year's draft. Just we got about 15 minutes here, so if you guys have any questions, please pump them into the comments. But you pay attention to college baseball. You're a big baseball guy. We talked about Ben Joyce a little bit, but any other arms in this draft-eligible class really sticking out to you?
I mean, Barco was shoving. It sucked to see him go down. I mean, that dude he's the real deal. I played with him at East Coast Pro in high school. He was a year younger than me, but he was good then. He was still hitting then. But yeah, I like what he brings to the table a lot. He's got a really good changeup and throws hard. Left side, big, strong presence. So I was enjoying watching him pitch, even though he plays for Florida. But Tennessee's got some dudes. So last year, well, actually, even going further back, what was crazy was Ryan Weathers was telling me about this kid he went to high school with. And I didn't pay attention to his name, but him and the Padres farm director, Kris kept talking about him. And Kemp was saying that his season wouldn't have got canceled because he pitched 0 high school innings. He was like, if his season would have got canceled, he was a first rounder. Like, that's the only reason he's at Tennessee now.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about Blade Tidwell.
Yeah.
And so I'm in Athens 2 off seasons ago when he's a freshman, and it's game 3 on a Sunday, and they're pitching a freshman, and it was him. And I was watching, and he was 5-7 for 7 innings. And I was like, this dude's a freshman. And I think Weathers saw us at the game, and he texted me, and I was like, this is the kid you're talking about. And he's like, yeah, we went to high school together. I'm like, no wonder y'all won state. Y'all are playing the lowest division in Tennessee with you and this kid.
You know what would be a good – so I wonder if you, Ryan Webb, Hancock, Cannon, put you guys up against Crochet, Chase Burns, Tidwell.
Yeah, that'd have been a good series. What was cool was when we played Tennessee that year, Emerson and Crochet went Friday night head to head. But who we really wanted to see was Louisville that year in 2020. It would have been Reed on Emerson, me on Bobby. So that'd have been a heck of a series.
Man, those are some crazy pitching staffs. Bobby and Detmers, man.
I would have put our 2019 pitching staff up against most people. Like, I felt like we really had it between Emerson, Tony Losi, Zach Christofac, me, Ryan Webb. Like, I felt like we had a staff that could have done it, but Florida State was the greatest team ever that year. So,
yeah, I loved the dichotomy of Webby with the left-handed ride and then flip over the curveball, and then you guys just throwing power running, 98. You and Hancock and Wilcox, or you and Hancock. That's a nightmare back to back to back.
It was fun. Like, we knew what we had, and we knew that once the offense scored, like, we had a real chance to win. Like, I enjoyed that. Kind of how Tennessee feels, but their offense is also extremely loaded.
Yeah.
We've got Anthony Mazzano as a question in the chat, and I think I'll kind of piggyback off of this question and ask you, Cole, before asking your opinion on this question, and Joe, you as well. But is there any hitter, or who is the hitter that you feared the most or gave you the most trouble when you were on the mound? And then I'll throw up the question here from Anthony: who's the most underrated power hitter in the draft, not from the prep ranks? But Cole, really to you first, who's that guy that you just never wanted to face?
Tristan Costas always barreled me up, I felt like, back in the day. I mean, I swear he set me up one time with a story. He was saying that sometimes he struggles with velo. So I was like, all right, I'll get him some velo. Threw him inside, and he just barreled it out in the right center. I'm like, this dude's either just seeing me really well, or he just completely trolled me. So he was one of the best hitters I've ever faced. And everyone said that, and we tell the scouts, and they'd all be like, really? Hit that? Like, yeah, really. This dude hits everything. And so I think they're seeing that now.
Yeah. And then, Joe, what do you got here? The most underrated power hitter you can think of from the college ranks, maybe?
I mean, underrated is tough. The two guys in this class that really stand out are Ivan Melendez at Texas and Dom Keegan at Vanderbilt. Like, those two are going to give you the most thump that's usable right now. I think a guy that is having a really good year that probably not a lot of people have heard of is the first baseman over at Iowa, Peyton Williams. He's really cut down his strikeouts, and I mean, he's another, big boy, 6'4", 6'5", 230. He can really thump. So those three would be who I'd go to, but honestly, underrated power hitter. I feel like power hitters in college aren't underrated. They're like superstars.
Yeah.
That's a good question though, Anthony. Thank you.
For sure.
Cole, who was the best stuff that you ever saw in college that, wasn't at Georgia?
That 2019 year in the SEC was loaded. It felt like there was three good starters on every team, but probably the most impressive outing. I was thinking about this the other day. The most impressive outing that was thrown against us that year was Zach Thompson at Kentucky. The night he threw against us, it was nuts. He went complete game, and he would be like 91 to 93, and then he'd get 0-2, and he'd just freeze somebody with 96. And I was like, where did that come from? And then he was just throwing that big breaker he's got. It was extremely impressive that day.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of people thought that 2019 pitching crop was one of the more light classes, I guess. Not a lot of great, but I mean, you saw like George Kirby just came out and shoved last night. Zach Thompson is going to be a really good player. There's some other guys that Alek Manoah, he's looked like a potential one or a two. So sometimes, you just kind of got to let it play out.
Yeah.
Let's take a minute here, Cole, and talk about, the real reason why you're here, right? Like the recent partnership with Prospects Live and Diamonds in the Rough, and kind of talk about how this show for you and Schnell came about. Like, have you guys known each other for a long time? Was it just a recent thing being in the Rays organization? Like, tell us all about that.
Yeah, I mean, we knew each other from like high school days, but just kind of casually. And then we were in Charleston together this year, so we got pretty tight. And then we both ended up getting hurt around the same time. So we were pretty much together all year last year. And when you're in Port Charlotte, there's not a whole lot to do. Like, you're right. You gotta find stuff to do to keep you occupied and from going nuts. So it was during football season, luckily. So we were watching a lot of football podcasts, just listening to some stuff. And we wanted to start one, but we had absolutely no idea what to do. And then there was one day somebody was telling a funny story at the complex, and I was like, "This is something that a lot of people don't get to hear." So we ended up kind of starting on that basis of like having people come on and like share some behind the scenes stories of how they got to where they were, and maybe some funny stories mixed in, and it's been really good. Like, I think I'd like to go back and interview some of the guys we did at the beginning, because I feel like we've gotten a lot better at kind of controlling the conversation and getting it to where it's just kind of free flowing, where it's just like some guys chatting it up in the locker room, just sharing stories, which has been our goal from the start. And it's been a lot of fun doing it.
You guys do such good work, and you're right. It is just like an open forum, but on the technical side, who edits your videos? Because you got a little style.
Yeah. No, Grayson Shook. He's one of my high school boys. He's a big baseball guy, big prospect guy. He reached out when we announced it, and I wasn't even thinking about it because I can edit videos a little bit. Like I took some classes in high school where I'm good enough to get by, but I'm not at his level. He's very good at it. So he's
got timing down. He's really got that comedic timing down.
Yeah, he reached out and asked if he could produce it. I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. So yeah, it's been awesome. He does really good work for us.
Who's the best, I guess, story that you've heard? I know recently having Taj Bradley on there talking about, trips in the minors and what it's like flying to one state, getting on a bus, driving 14 hours back. Like, what's the best story that you've heard from one of the guys?
Oh man. I'll tell you what, we got one coming out this week that is filled with good stories. It's Rick Honeycutt. He's from my hometown, and he was name dropping all kinds of guys. It was sick. But man, we've had some good ones. DL Hall getting caught by the tobacco police was pretty funny.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so tobacco is a no-go, as you know, in baseball. So yeah, apparently they have actual tobacco police going around, and
only in the minor leagues, man.
DL was told, like he said, they told him like, "Hey, tobacco police is here," and he's like, he just laughed it off, and he said he had a fat lip in, and they called him, and I think he had to pay $1,000. The coach had to pay $1,000 fine, and then he had
oh my god, really?
Yeah, and he had to take a course of sobriety.
A course?
So he said, as of that day he named the date. He said he was tobacco free.
Wait, so you guys don't make enough. Don't make any damn money.
Yeah, $1,000. That's not.
Fines on tobacco, ejections you get fined a little bit, but it was I don't remember the exact amount. Don't quote me on 1,000, but it was enough to where you're like, dang, like it was a fat chunk of the paycheck. But yeah, that story was funny. Wayne Wright told some good ones. Bobby Witt got his all 4 tires stolen from him at a hotel in Arizona. They just got jacked off his car. There's some good ones mixed in. I'm trying to think of all of them now, but
what kind of car was Witt driving that he got all 4 tires stolen off?
Who knows? That's some big money stuff right there.
Yeah, I always wonder about those top guys, how they spend their money, but yeah.
No, Bobby's pretty low key, so I don't know what he was driving, but yeah, that's what I told him. I said, dude, I mean, because he said it was in like a 2-hour span. Like he walked in the hotel, 2 hours later, somebody's like, bro, your tires are gone.
You're on all fours, bro.
You got to respect someone who's good at their craft. You know, you just got to tip your cap to some professionals.
What are you driving these days, Cole?
I finally bought a truck at the end of 2020. I got a Chevy Trail Boss. I love it.
There you go.
Probably drive.
Georgia boy driving a truck? No
Shocker.
way.
Shocker.
No way.
Yeah, I'll probably drive that till I'm 50. I love it.
Who's got the best wheels? Who's got the best wheels in the system that you know of?
I'll tell you what. Today, walking out, Denard Span helps us out. He's got a nasty little G-Wagon. That's
Denard Span is one of the nicest dudes in the industry.
Yeah, by far. We're about to get him on, so he'll be on soon. But let's see. I'll tell you what. Brendan McKay, he lives in Tampa, and he was driving down to rehab last year, and he was driving an F-350 all the way from Tampa to Port Charlotte every day, jacked up, like 37s. I'm like, bro, I know you got the dough, but dang it, boy, you're spending some money on this gas.
That's $140 back and forth.
Yeah, you might as well get a hotel,
especially right now.
Yeah,
it's nice though. It's a nice look. But Wander has like 4 or 5, and they're real nice.
Well, I mean, he just got a $250 million.
Yeah, he this was before that. he was rolling the 4 wheels around.
All right, so Cole, last question for you, and then we'll let you go. So some of these guys, cars, whatever, clothes. You're a big candy guy. What's the S tier candy?
Before I answer this, I just thought about something else about the cars. when I was rolling into, because when I first got drafted by the Padres, you know how they like redid spring training in 2020 for like they upstarted for like a month where it's just kind of on your own spring training and then the season started.
Yeah,
we were rolling in Petco every day, and Machado's parking space was right there when you walked in. He had like a little system rotation going, and it was just straight heat. Heat. I mean, it was. I'm not even a big car guy. And I was like, dang, like it was like G-Wagon to. I'm trying to think. I have them all down. Corvette. Like it was just like rolling them out. I'm like, how big is this guy's driveway?
I can't wait for you to have too much money to not know what to do with, just to see how the dumb stuff you spend it on.
I don't spend money really at all.
I know that's why I'm saying it'll be dumb. It'll be like, oh,
yeah.
last month.
If I had money to spend, it'd be a lake house with a bass boat. That would be like.
There you go.
That would be
all right.
That would be like my bass boat and a ski boat. Like I could spend all day, every day out there.
There you go.
Where?
Probably Lake Oconee because it's right by Athens.
Mm.
Like Athens is God's country. Like I would, if my fiance would have let us build there, I would have built there. We're building back home where I live right now, but hopefully one day we make it a little further south to dog country.
Nothing wrong with having two homes if you can afford it at some point.
That's true. At the moment I can't, but hopefully someday.
So when's the wedding?
The wedding is December 10th.
Joe, from two recently married men to a soon-to-be married man, should we offer him a little bit of advice here, or what could we? What could we do here for the guy?
Yeah, I mean, don't keep score, and she's always right.
Yeah.
I know that's the most cliche thing ever, man, but just
no. Always kiss goodnight. Always kiss goodnight is the most cliche thing.
Never go to bed mad at each other.
Don't go to bed angry.
Yeah.
Love it.
No, I mean that's pretty much it, right? Just open lines of communication, and she's just let her win.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. For guys like us, we're so used to keeping score, right?
Yeah, true.
Don't keep score. That's it. Don't just stop.
Hopefully, I won't be injured anymore because I'm just like finding anything to compete in while I'm injured. Like while you're rehabbing, I'm going nuts, and I get more mad at like random stuff. Like we're playing Catan, the board game out there, and I'm just getting pissed. And I'm like, I never get this mad at stuff like this, but I don't have anything to compete in right now. I got to take it out somewhere.
Yeah.
But to answer your candy question, I think I did a review the other day to show like what all my rankings are based off of, and it's peanut M&Ms. That's 10 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you reviewed the nerd gummy clusters?
No, but one of my best friends had recently sent that in, so I actually have it bought. So it's on standby, but they are good. I've already had them. They are good. They are good. I don't ever plan the rankings going into it. It just kind of happens when I say it. So I don't know what it is, but it might crack the board. I got to write down all the ones that I've done.
You got to make a board, man.
You know what spots I have open.
You see how Kris has like a standings behind him up
there?
Yeah,
right behind those.
You need a candy board right behind you.
Because I keep giving guys a title of like 7th inning. I did the sweet tart ropes today. That was a lefty specialist. So I'm filling out roles right now, and it's if I keep doing it, I'm gonna overlap. So yeah, I do need to write them down. But yeah, freaking game 1, game 4, and game 7 of the World Series is peanut for sure.
That's your horse.
Give me the rolls and the candy, and I can at least get a graphic started for you.
I will.
Something good.
I will. Well, I gotta roll on my guy Shook to do that.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, Shook's the guy for that. We had a candy draft one time, and that was pretty funny to hear everybody's. Because you just think everybody thinks like you, and then you put it out, and you're like, dang, I just dominated this draft. And then everybody's like, you took the L. I'm like, no way. My top 4 fell to me. How can I take the L?
I think as a matter of fact, one of the first things that I remember doing when I joined Prospects Live, Joe, I think we had talked about this too, is we did the Ben and Jerry's ice cream grades.
Oh my God.
And I think we did Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and we did Girl Scout cookies, right? And it was like the 80 grade was the Thin Mints or the Samoa, right?
Yeah, I'm past that point now though, dude. Yeah. You do like one roll of Thin Mints, and it's just I've had enough.
Yeah, the brushing your teeth, the
no. It gets chalky after a while.
I'm not a big mint guy.
We're going off the rails.
Yeah, we took a turn here. We're taking a turn.
Oh, that's awesome.
Probably, I think this is probably a good place to kill it, man.
Yeah, let's go.
This has been fun, Cole.
I don't
Cole,
know.
I appreciate it.
I can hear this background noise, but Schnell's out there watching Harry Potter. So I don't. I said, dude, turn that down. But I don't know if he did or not. I can kind of hear it, and I was just waiting for one of y'all to ask what was going on. But
no, we got to get Schnell on here next week, though.
We'll do it next.
Pick his brain a little bit.
We'll do it.
Congratulate him on his new world record.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll definitely. I held out talking about that. I figured we'd get Schnell on and talk about it.
Yeah, I asked him about it. He was the one who said it. But yeah,
all right, Cole.
Brain to pick.
Cole, I really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, best of luck moving forward with the Diamonds in the Rough show. For those of you that haven't checked it out, be sure to check it out on YouTube, Diamonds in the Rough. It is Cole Wilcox and Nick Schnell. So that's
good.
It's
really
good.
funny.
It's fun. So be sure to check that out. Now part of the Prospects Live network as well. So Cole, awesome time, man. I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for the time, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And we're super pumped to be on this platform now. Should have a lot of good things going for it.
All right.
All right, man. Take care, bud.
Man, that's going to be great. We got to get Cole involved in the live mock draft too. Have him representing maybe the Yankees. Maybe represent
or the Nationals. How about he represents the Nationals?
He probably has to represent the Rays.
I don't know.
I don't know if we have a Rays rep, so I think that'd be perfect.
The Nationals were going to pick him, didn't pick him, then picked another Cole not named Wilcox. And
yeah, salty X.
Let it burn. All right, guys.
Real,
well, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for us, guys. I know this was a little bit different. Like we mentioned at the top of the hour, we're kind of, in the doldrums a little bit of the college baseball season. So we'll try to get a couple more special guests as we get closer to the postseason in the College World Series. But until next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Prospects Live Network. I'm your host, Kris Dunn, joined as always by my good buddy, Joe. Joe, we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.